everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my Friends Pick My TBR Part 3. So, if you guys missed, last year I did 2 installments of this vlog series where I let my friends have access to all of the books on my physically unread TBR, and they picked each 2. So I have 6 on my TBR for the month of February. I'm excited about them. I'm excited to, keep tackling my physical TBR and shrink it. So let me grab them here because I slid them into my book cart. For the month of February, I'm going to be reading these 6 books exactly, and I'm excited about them, and I'm intrigued by the fact that my friends picked these, It was one of those things where I was just like, oh, I am just surprised at their choices, really. So first, my lovely friend SJ picked these 2. She picked Empire of Wild by Sherry DeMelin. And Sherry DeMelin was an author that we all read together in university for one of our Indigenous literature classes. We read her YA Marrow Thieves, which I didn't love because it is so YA it hurts, but it is still like a good book. But I'm excited about this one because this one's more of a horror fantasy Indigenous lit book, so I'm excited to get into this, and I'll let you know more about each of these books when I actually start reading them, but because as of right now I don't really know a whole lot. The next one she picked was Dune by Frank Herbert. She's putting me through this. So once I started doing this, my friends actually started kind of getting on the bandwagon and had us pick like their TBR kind of a thing for a month that they would eventually get through. And I think my friend Sophie picked it for SJ to read. So SJ was like, now you have to read it and join us in this Dune world. So going to be reading that one as well this month. And then my friend Yeleni picked the sequel to whatever the first one of this one is. I can never remember what they are. The Thief by Megan Wallen Turner, which we read for book club, and I have now read twice, and I haven't continued on with the series, so finally going to continue on with the series. It's like a classic YA fantasy series, so I'm intrigued to see where it goes from The Thief, of course, because I think The Thief was like her first book too, so I'm intrigued to see how it gets better as it goes. And Yeleni also picked for me Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq, which is a book that I was supposed to read at university and never did. So I'm intrigued by this, but this one is also very visual. We have lots of visual added stuff in here, so I'm intrigued by Split Tooth and also absolutely terrified because I know it is a ride. And then my friend Sophie picked 2. She picked 15 Dogs by Andre Alexis, which is a book that I've had on my TBR for just a little bit. I was supposed to read this one also in university, and then I went on a date with a guy, and it's his favorite book of all time. So we picked, it was a bookstore date where we each bought each other books to read. I'm no longer seeing the guy, but I still have the book and I have not read it. But Sophie's making me read it, so gonna do that. Ooh! And then last but not least, she's also getting me finally to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which I think this is the one that I'm most excited about because I've been meaning to read this for so long. And I have the audiobook for this one as well through my library. So I think I'm gonna start with The Queen of Attolia because I have this audiobook on Scribd, and I'm most wanting to read this one at this very moment. But the rest of them, I'm going to see if I can find audiobooks for. I know I have the audiobook for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and Dune, and I believe Tanya Tagaq's Split Tooth is available places. So I'm gonna see what I can find, and we're just gonna dive into it. This is gonna be probably throughout the month of February as I read these specific 6 books. Stick around, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you've read any of these. I will catch up with you guys when I have some reading thoughts. Hello friends, it is now a little bit later, and I thought I'd pop in with an update on the Queen of Attolia because I'm done work for the day and I've been listening to the audiobook on and off, and I am currently, I'm over the 200 page mark. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, there's something about Megan Wallen Turner's writing that just is so compulsively readable. Since this is a sequel, I won't really spoil you, but the first book follows Jen as he is hired to steal something that's impossible to steal because he keeps bragging that he's the best thief ever. So he gets hired to steal something that's impossible to steal. And then this is the sequel where like the political machinations are expanded upon and whatever, and like the queens and the kings and what have you. And in this, he has been tasked to steal peace, to steal a man, and to steal a queen. He's doing it, but at the beginning of this book, he has his hand cut off, and he spends like the first 40% of the book just bitching about the fact that he has no hand. And like, I get it. I understand. Not having a hand is very difficult, especially when you're a thief. That's like your whole thing. But he like holds himself up in his room and becomes like the most irritable person. And it was just really hard to read. But now we're actually getting to some action, which is exciting. So yeah, such an easy, compulsively readable book. And I could be done this in a few hours, actually, if I really tried. Because the audiobook, I have it on 2.0 speed, because Scribd only goes that fast. And Scribd, you need to go faster with your audiobooks, because I could read this at probably 3.0 speed if you did. I think I'm gonna try and see if I can finish it today, if not tomorrow for sure. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into these. So yeah, Queen of Attolia, not too bad. I'm enjoying Megan Wallen Turner's writing. It's just so easy to read. So easy to read. So like just fast and consumable. Thought I'd pop in with that little update, but I will let you know how I feel when I'm done. Hello friends, it's now the next day. It's February 4th. Hi, hello. And I've officially finished my first read of this video, The Queen of Attolia by Megan Wallen Turner, and I didn't like this very much. I was bored. I know last time I talked I said like it was like kind of interesting, and it was fine. It's 2.5 star for me. It was just boring. I couldn't care less about what was happening, about the characters or anything. And like the writing is really nice, but like I don't care. I don't care about like the insta love that's kind of in here, or was it even insta love? It's more of a like two people declaring their love for each other and me sitting there going, really? You love each other? She cut off your hand. What? There's no proof of it, and it's not even like a good enemies to lovers. It's just kind of like a forced situation, even though they both love each other. I didn't like it, and I don't know if I'm gonna continue with the series at all now, because I just don't care. I don't care enough. Like, I actually liked The Thief better than this one, and I didn't love The Thief when I read it the first time anyways. Oh, there's no room on my bookshelves anymore. So yeah, first book read and completed for this video, and it was kind of a fail. 2.5 star. The one thing that redeemed Megan Wallen Turner was her writing. That's what gave her the 2.5 star, because it's just easy to read. So there's that. Alas, that is it for that. I don't know what I'm gonna read next. Who knows? But I will let you know what I pick next, and I will catch up with you then. Hello friends. It is now a few days later. It is February 7th, and I'm popping in because I'm starting my next read, which is 15 Dogs by Andrea Alexis. This is probably the one that I'm least looking forward to out of the pile. I really don't want to read this, so I'm reading it now to get it out of the way. I'm listening to the audiobook, which I have on Libby, which shouldn't take me long because I believe the audiobook itself is like 6 hours. I'm just a little ways through, and I like the way it starts. I just hate the dialogue. I hate it. It's worse than Sally Rooney. You know why? Because it's denoted by dashes. Why? Why does it, why do people do this? Just use dialogue like it's supposed to be used. Sally Rooney's dialogue drives me bananas because it is integrated into like paragraph form, which like you can't tell the difference between who's talking and if it's like description or if it's thoughts or talking, which like I guess is a point she's trying to make. But this is worse because it reminds me of French dialogue from French books, because I believe dialogue in French is denoted differently because there aren't quotation marks. There are like the double arrow looks things, and that always drove me bananas when I was going through school and having to read French books. So format, not loving. But a few pages in, I enjoy the Apollo and Hermes bet, because that's how this starts, is that they basically bet each other that I'll wager a year's servitude, says Apollo, that any animal you choose would be even more unhappy than humans are if they had human intelligence. Then they make 15 dogs at a vet clinic have the intelligence of a human, and that is where we're going off from. So I have a feeling this is going to be kind of philosophical, but it's also Canadian, so like we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, because I know my friend who picked it, Sophie, she likes this book, so I have very, very low expectations, so hopefully they blow them out of the water. But starting this, and I'll let you know my thoughts. Hello friends, it's a little later, and I'm on page 37 of 15 Dogs, and I hate this book. At page 37, let me just clarify. These dogs have turned murderous and are killing each other. I'm sorry. I didn't sign up for murder. Dog on dog murder, thank you. No. So I'm gonna give it a little longer to see if it turns around. But like, I don't want to see dogs die. Like, we've had 2 dogs die by car accident that the other dogs orchestrated. And then we just had like the very beginning when like all the dogs like leave the vet service, 2 of them or 3 of them get left behind because one's like, I'm old, I just gotta wait till my owner comes picks me up in the morning, and then she doesn't. She gets euthanized the next day and like abused before she gets euthanized by the vet techs, which would never happen. Vet techs would never do that. The vet techs that I know are obsessed with dogs and they treat them with the utmost kindness. There's no way that they would beat up an old dog and then euthanize her. No. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a little longer and then we're gonna see what happens, but this is a very close DNF. All right, yeah, no, made it to page 60. I'm DNFing. No, I don't want to read a book where dogs are mean to each other. And then I looked up a summary online just to see if it got better, and it got much worse. I don't want to read an existential look at humanity through dogs hurting each other and having really cruel lives. Like, no. So we're DNFing that. Hard DNF. Made it to page 60. That's enough. Sorry, Sophie, I can't do it. I'm so sorry, but no. Anyways, all right. Well, that was the pitiful attempt at number 2. Hopefully we can only go up from here. I'll let you guys know what I feel like reading next. Hello, friends. It's now a few days later. And I think it's February 12th? Yeah, February 12th. And I'm here. And I want to pop in. This weekend, I'm planning on getting a huge bunch of reading done for this video and for just otherwise. But I wanted to let you know, I intended to start Empire of Wild this week. And I think I read like 8 pages of it. So I will be continuing this like really soon. Obviously, it's part of this TBR. And I'm very intrigued by it. First, like 8 pages. Sherry DeMelin, her prose is just so great. But today, I wanted to pop in because I started listening to the audiobook of Dune when I was going like grocery shopping and stuff, and I ended up, as I was listening to it, just getting the overwhelming urge to annotate and like really delve into this book. And I can't do that with this edition because this edition is so small that like the physical words are too small to annotate with, and there's like no margin on the outside that I like to write in and like write my thoughts and stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to Indigo and buy the Dune book there. And of course there's like 3 different versions of Dune, like cover wise and size wise. I wanted the special edition because like it's hardback, would be really like sturdy and whatever, and I thought it was only gonna be like regular hardback price. No, it's like $50. So I picked up the bigger paperback, the trade paperback, because now I can actually go in and annotate. So I think 2 hours into the audiobook, maybe. So I want to restart the audiobook with the book in my hand so I can annotate the hell out of this thing because I am really liking this. It's so captivating. I don't know what it is. I am captivated by this book. I don't know what I was expecting going in, but like the prose is so neat to me. And I don't know, maybe it's the audiobook, but it's a full cast audiobook. There's people who are like saying the parts of the people instead of just the narrator narrating it. Narrator's narrating it and other people are filling in dialogue. It's very cool. And like there's background music too and like atmosphere. So I'm loving this read so far. But yeah, that's my update for this video. I'm going to be reading this one next. And as a physical read, if I get tired of audiobooking, I'm going to do Empire of Wild. And then I have 2 books left. Got those 2 over there, Split Tooth and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I'm hoping to get to very soon as well. I'm having a great time, and this is gonna be the next read. Hello, friends. It is now the next day that I last talked to you guys. I wanted to pop in because I decided, because this weekend is nearly over, because it is currently 11 on a Sunday, that I was going to polish off one of my little books that I could, and I read through Split Tooth in like an hour and a half, not even. I have no idea what to rate this, and I don't think I can, because it's not really a book in the sense that I'm used to. Like it has a narrative, but it doesn't have like, I don't know, it's not like a novel, right? Like there's mixed media, there's poetry, there's photo, like drawings and illustrations and stuff like that. So I don't think I can rate this. I don't even know where I would begin. Because the usual way that I rate books is on like characters and writing and atmosphere and logic and stuff like that. To me, there's very little logic in this book because it is heavily based in mythology and stuff like that. So I also can't say that I enjoyed it like at all. And that's sad. So I'm gonna leave this unrated. I also can't say that I'm glad I read it, other than the fact that I finally read it. and it's just been sitting on my shelves for a while. So Split Tooth has been read. I guess if you want to give it a narrative, it's just a narrative about a young Indigenous girl, and she becomes pregnant and has to deal with that, and like has to deal with life before that, and it's a lot about just like little vignettes of life and twisted with magical realism in places. Split Tooth. Well, Split Tooth is done. So there's that. Well, I haven't read any further. The only amount of reading I've done in Dune is about 80 some pages, and I'm excited to keep going with this week. Hopefully I can get good chunks of it done, because I didn't realize that this was like a 600-page sci-fi novel, so it's quite long. This might take me longer to get through than I realized. We're nearly there, guys. We're about halfway there. Hello, my darling friends. It is now literally the next day, and I wanted to pop in because I realized I went onto my like library app. I went on to Libby, and I realized that my audiobook for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is gonna vanish in 4 days. So I gotta start reading it now. It's Monday, which is unfortunate because I have a long work day. It's just a long work day on Mondays. I guess I'm gonna be reading Invisible Life of Addie LaRue sooner than I intended to. Which is fine. It really is fine. But I wanted to pop in and say, hi, hello. We're going to be starting The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And I'm excited about it. So, hello, friends. It is now many days later. Hi, hello. Please excuse my absolutely atrocious hair. Please excuse it. I wanted to pop in with an update for Addie LaRue. I meant to do this so much earlier because I am nearly done it. I just totally forgot to actually update you guys on my thoughts. And man, this book is just so good. It's one of those books that's like on another level. I don't know, it's in the same league as like the vibes of The Starless Sea were for me. Like, it wasn't a book that I would ever recommend to anybody because it's not like super engaging or super plot heavy or like there's really anything super surprising going on, but it's just so beautifully written and that it's in its own league. And that's how I feel about it. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is just killing the game. I have seen so many people just not liking the way that V.E. Schwab writes, or just thinking this is like pedantic or just over the top with her flowery language. And I don't even find it that flowery myself. I find it pretty on par with her other work. Maybe not like as action-packed as like Shades of Magic would be, but it's so good. I am loving it. I am on page 371, so I have just a little chunk left to do, and I'm really hoping to get through today because the audiobook I think has to be back today or tomorrow into my library, so I gotta finish this up today. And I'm prepared to sob because I'm seeing clues of like things that could go wrong. I don't want anything to go wrong because I just love where we are right now. I love Henry, and I even really like Addie too. She's so intriguing to me, and I don't like the darkness at all. He is the most abusive, manipulative asshole there is around. I don't like him at all, but God, I love the story. I love it, and I've been annotating it, and I've just been living my best life. So this is definitely a winner. This is definitely a winner. I knew it was gonna be. I knew I was gonna love it, but like this much? Oh, I'm so happy that I'm liking it this much. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this up, and I'll let you know my thoughts once I do. 5 stars. Oh my God, 5 stars. This. Oh my God, I hate it and I love it. I cried and God, I love that ending. I hated the ending, but I love the ending. Like, if you know, you know. Luke is the fucking worst. I hate him so much. And he is the most manipulative. Just seething with anger about him. And Henry, God. Oh my God, I love this book so much. Holy bananas. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. It's a new favorite of mine. It's up there with the same vibes as the Starless Sea. Like, it's got the vibes of the Starless Sea. And I've been searching for those vibes for so long in a book. And this had it. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, Oh my god. All right. So this weekend I'm going up to the lake. So I probably won't be able to vlog too much, but I'm bringing Dune and The Empire of Wild with me and I hope to finish them there. So those are the next two books. Those are the last two books of the video and I will update you as I can, if I can, but I will update you definitely when I get back with my final thoughts and everything. So hello friends. Happy Sunday. It is currently February 20th. Oh my god. February's been going so quickly. And I thought I'd pop in with an update on the last two books that I have to read for this lovely video because I am halfway through both of them, which is very exciting. I'll start with Empire of Wild by Sherry Dimanin because I read this, I read half of it yesterday in like 2 hours. I powered through half of it, which is awesome. This is I honestly thought it was more fantasy than I'm getting, but it is a indigenous retelling of the Rougarou legend, which is so much fun because it is also quite horror and like thriller-y in a way, like not like the typical horror thriller that I've read like Riley Sager's work. This is I don't know, it's interesting and it's so easy to read. Sherry Dimanin has just wonderful prose that makes the reading experience so like seamless and smooth and I really enjoy it. But yeah, so this follows our main character Joan, and at the beginning of this we basically find out that she has lost her husband. Her husband has gone missing and he's been missing for about a year now, and she one day stumbles upon a tent. They're like revival people, like it's a revival tent, and she kind of like peeks her head in because she's intrigued, not as to like the revival people, but like why the hell they've got a tent up. She's like, what the hell's this? And she pokes her head in and she ends up seeing this man who claims he's the Reverend something Wolf, Eugene Wolf, but she's like, no, you're my husband, you're Victor, like you are Victor, what happened? And so she kind of goes off on that, and she's convinced that there's a few people around the preacher guy who are like his like, I guess, disciples. Is that the way to say it? I don't know. One of them she's convinced is a Rougarou, so she is trying to free him and take him away, like Victor, away from this man, from this wolf guy. And then we also get the occasional Victor perspective, and Victor in this perspective is like locked in the woods and he can't get out. Like it's like he keeps trying to get out and he can't, like he keeps coming back to the same spot, which is creepy. I'm enjoying this and it's going very well so far. For Dune, also halfway through, also super enjoying it, and I've decided to make this one of my books that I review in my dual review video, so I won't talk too much about it in here, like my thoughts and my stuff, because I'm going to be featuring it in that video. I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's weird because it's not what I expected going in, but it also is. It's the weirdest way I'm having the hardest time describing this book, and like how it's affecting me, but it's just like it's giving me the same feeling that I've got when I started The Wheel of Time, and it's not the same. It's also not the same. Like, it's the same, but not the same, because this is written completely different than The Wheel of Time. I don't know. I think it's because it was written so long ago. And so it has that old sci-fi or old fantasy flavor that these books have. It also is so detached from the characters, which is unlike the fantasy that I read today or that is published today, which is fine by me. I don't know what it is. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having the hardest time describing this book. As you guys can tell, I'm just babbling right now. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm liking seeing where it's going and how Frank Herbert is kind of making the desert so interesting, even though something like that could be so monotonous and the same because it's just sand all the time everywhere. But it's so interesting how he makes it not monotonous at all, and I'm really liking that we get multiple points of views in this that aren't just on Paul and his mom, I guess, because they're like the main characters of this. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm halfway through, so I will let you guys know when I've finished one or the other of these and my final thoughts. Hello, friends. It's been like maybe an hour. I finished Empire of Wild by Sherry Dimanin, and it was good. It was good. I gotta admit, I kind of skimmed the last bit because I saw what was going on. I saw what was gonna happen and that kind of stuff. And like the little like last minute cliffhanger-y thing that happened, pretty spicy and does leave it open for a possible sequel, which I'm going to look out for. I did enjoy this. I will have to put it through Crop Pile a little later But if you like not necessarily horror thrillers, or like you want to try a horror thriller that's not like overly scary, and you really enjoy a mix of like magical realism as well as indigenous literature and like Canadian literature and forests and kind of this like stuck in a time loop vibe, read this. It was very good, and it also had interesting family dynamics, which is what I love most about Indigenous literature. The Indigenous authors that I've read throughout my university career and afterwards just have this knack for creating families and stories around families and just these moments around like even just like a dinner table or in a living room that just hit, even though they're their most like mundane conversations. I don't know what it is, but yeah, this was good. It was quite good, and I'm gonna have to ruminate on it a bit before I throw it through cop out, but boom, that one's done. So we got one book left to go, and I'll catch up with you when I have more thoughts. Hello friends, it is now many days later. It is currently February 27th. The end of February is upon us, and I wanted to pop in because I have officially finished reading Dune by Frank Herbert. I have so many thoughts. Overall, I really appreciate this read. I think this read was my like second favorite of the video, but I cannot say that I overly liked this book. But I really liked this book, which is so just confusing and backwards. But like, I think it's because this is much like the Bone Ships in the, like, not at all like the Bone Ships. The only way it is like the Bone Ships is in the way that when I was reading this, it was like I was witnessing it, like I was watching a movie. It's very cinematic, and I can see why so many adaptations have been made of this, because it just works really well for something like film. In the same way that the Bone Ships is like this, it feels like I was witnessing the events, not experiencing them with the characters, which is very interesting because I'm used to, in my sci-fi and in my fantasy, to read books and experience the quests and the emotions and the events with the characters. In Dune and in the Bone Ships, I was not doing that. It was very much not that. And I believe I compared this to like the feelings I was getting of reading this, the feelings that I was having while I was reading this. I was comparing it to The Wheel of Time, and in that way I still do, but I can't give it the same weight as The Wheel of Time because The Wheel of Time feels more like a familiar fantasy book to me. Like it feels like The Lord of the Rings and those big epic fantasies that I have read because I feel like I've connected to some of the characters in that book. And this, I don't really get that at all because I feel like I was witnessing the narrative, not experiencing the narrative. Am I just rambling? Probably. But that's kind of the feeling that I have coming off of this. But I still am so intrigued by the story, and I'm going to keep reading the Dune series, which I never thought I would say ever. Like, I want to go out and get the second book and the second audiobook because I need to know what happens next in Paul Atreides, in Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke, 8,000 different titles in his story, you know? This was intriguing as all hell, and I have so many thoughts. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see even more thoughts on Dune in my dual book review that I will be doing of this. But yeah, interesting. And I also, I didn't like Paul. I don't like Paul. And I have very many reasons for this, which is fine. Like, I don't need to like a character to enjoy them. And I also can say that I didn't enjoy his character. There are characters that I've read that I don't like the person, but I really enjoy the character. And like the one person I can think of right now is Severus Snape. Didn't like the person at all, really enjoy the character. But Paul, I dislike him on both counts. That does not mean he was a very well-crafted character. What an intriguing read. I have so many thoughts. Anyways, I'm gonna come in when I don't look like this to officially wrap up this vlog, but we did it. Last book of the My Friends Pick My TBR has been finished. Hello, friends. It is now officially February 28th. We are at the end of February, and we've come to the end of this video. This video was part 3 of My Friends Pick My TBR. I did 2 of them last year, and I'm enjoying this weird thing that I'm doing to try shrink my physical TBR with the help of my friends, because honestly, a lot of times they pick books that I probably would not have read for a long time. We'll just say that. So this video, I read 6 books just in general, and I came out with a new favorite and a new appreciation for sci-fi. Those are the things that I came out of this with. And I'm happy that I finally read some of these books on my TBR. So first and foremost, I started with The Queen of Attolia, which didn't really love like at all. I gave it 2.5 stars. And I think I'm going to like officially take all of Megan Wallen Turner's books off my shelves and just donate them because I don't plan on reading them anymore. So there is that. There is that. But yeah, Queen of Attolia was just fine. Not that great, and I don't think I will be continuing with this series. Then I ended up trying to read 15 Dogs by Andre Alexis, which I ended up DNFing, and I'm also going to be unhauling this off my shelves because I got 60 pages in and I was just mad. I was just mad because I just not a fan. I went in expecting there to be some violence because it's a book about dogs who get animated or like who end up getting the power of people thinking. But I didn't expect it to be within the first 30 pages and like having to witness dog murder by other dogs. Not a good time, and the prose of this is so dry and so monotonous. I was just angry. I was angry, so I DNF'd it. The next 4 were a little better. I ended up reading Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq, which was something I was supposed to read for university. I finally read it and I don't know what to rate it, so I'm leaving this unrated. It feels like a book that I cannot rate because I can't say that I enjoyed this at all, but I recognize its mastery as a piece of art, you know? So Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. Then I ended up reading Empire of Wild by Sherry Dimadin, which I ended up giving, I believe, 3 stars or 3.5 stars. What did I end up rating this one? 3 stars. So like solid, wasn't like my super favorite, wasn't really that surprising or anything, but definitely was a good read and easy. Sherry Dimadin, their writing is just great. I have read one of their books previously for that same Indigenous Literature seminar, was their like YA book. It was The Marrow Thieves. So one thing that Sherry Dimadin has, incredible prose, easy prose. So I enjoyed this one. And then we have my 2 that I liked the most out of this video, and they were The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is a brand new favorite of mine. It's up there with The Starless Sea for me. Like these 2 books are in a league of their own for me, which is just incredible, and I never thought I would get another book or read another book that felt like The Starless Sea for me, but this one did, which is amazing. So I got 5 stars, easy 5 stars. And then I finally ended off the video with Dune by Frank Herbert, which I ran through Compile last night and is a 4 star. So I will say the characters were kind of lacking and the dialogue wasn't great. It felt really fake at times. Like it just didn't feel real, which is something that, you know, drags me out of the story when we're dealing with dialogue that doesn't feel real. So there was that, but other than that, it was an interesting, intriguing read. Anyways, my friends, that was this video. Thank you so much for sticking out. If you stuck through the whole thing, leave me a little puppy dog emoji down below for 15 dogs. Just cuz. Anyways, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in another video very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.